Chapter 12. 3 Manuscripts. The doctor turned the board again and sighed. Probably stalemate. Benny popped her head into her tent and frowned at him. Make yourself at home. Don't hesitate to use my favorite chair. If the urge strikes you, rifle through my belongings and discover my innermost secrets and appliances. Sorry. Nothing to be done. Needed to wait. Benny sat down on her bedding roll. I've heard awful things from the travellers. How you've given up completely and wouldn't help Jam when he left to take on the Hootai. Is this true? What do you think? I think you're in serious trouble. Move your right arm. The doctor did so. Benny pulled a thick volume from the stuffed bookshelf behind the doctor. Resting it on her lap, she found a place with her finger and began to read. August the 4th. This is my diary, by the way. Is this relevant? Oh, yes, very. This is from a year when I had a tremendous crush on a young research assistant. Dear diary, I hate myself. And I'm afraid that means I hate you too. Those who read this will just have to get used to a deterioration in our relationship. The doctor was smiling. Do you often stage readings? Yes, and I annotate all over the place, and sometimes I go back and stick notes over the bits I don't like. I don't want to erase them, so I can peel off the note, but I want to offer a new version, I suppose. This is one of those pieces. Here's where we get to the note. This is the new version. Benny peeled off a scrap of pink paper and read it out. I took Ian out dancing, to the Elderstrass ballroom, and it was great. He told me that I was like a sister to him, which was very flattering. She sighed and crumbled the note up. History is written by the winning side. That's why nobody in this century has ever heard of Exeter City. Ah. The doctor looked puzzled once more. This, however, is what really happened. I took Ian dancing, had a few too many glasses of wine, told him that I loved him, and got really hurt when he told me he thought of me as a sister. I ran down the steps and ruined a perfectly good dress in the fall. A Stygian beggar helped me out of the gutter. I told him that we were both looking at the stars, and gave him most of my cash. Benny thumped the book closed. So, what do you think? The real version's better. True. The new version, the game, is just there for a while, until I can face the real version. The doctor narrowed his eyes. I see. Bernice glanced at the chessboard. Are you winning? No. Do you play chess often? I've had a few games, against some good opponents, but only you can beat yourself. Yes. Benny concentrated on the board for a moment. Which side do you want me to be? The doctor looked up at her, and their eyes met. Benny winked, quickly. White, the doctor told her. They played in silence. The doctor was hard-pressed by Benny's chaotic style of play. Sometimes it was childish, taking pieces thoughtlessly. Sometimes it was very thoughtful indeed. You're very lonely, aren't you? Benny said after a while. No. Well, sometimes. I've lived a long time. Twice. It's hard to explain. Sometimes I get too close to a human. Sometimes we both get hurt. Benny took a pawn. How do you feel about Ace? The doctor frowned, as if confused. I left her on Earth with her boyfriend. I only saw her once more. She's living out her incarnation, waiting for him to die. Then she'll call for me. Yes, she'll call. And I'll find her again. Who are you talking about? Susan, my granddaughter. I was talking about Ace. Do you know who that is? Yes, I do. Bernice. Benny. I've never lost a game, and I think you're going to beat me. Better than you beating yourself. Have you got loads of options left here? Are you waiting for something to come along? She waved at the board vaguely. No, but I still might win. You never know. A slow smile spread across his face. There's something I'd like to do, if you're willing. Now where have I heard that before? It's something I don't usually ask of my companions, because I like to respect their privacy, but you've shown me so much of your life already. If you don't like it, tell me to stop. He reached out slowly and touched Benny in the center of her forehead with one finger. Benny smiled, enchanted, as she felt a gentle gaze flicker over her memories. She felt the doctor shy away from embarrassing topics and comment gently on the pain of her life. Finally, he took the finger away, and the process ended. Did you mind? He asked shyly. Not at all, but then I am an exhibitionist. Why'd you want me to do that? Because I'm alone. Or soon will be. Because I wanted to know you. There are other ways. Not for me. No. Benny pursed her lips. And that wouldn't have anything to do with wanting to know if I'd been grabbed by the Hootai, would it? No. Benny slowly nodded. You know, there was something else I was wondering. You never told me about the translation you made of the Heavenite script on the walls. I'd like to hear what our astronomer had to say for herself. It isn't important, not part of the game. But the game version isn't the important one, is it? Go on, we've got a while until the end of the world. Plenty of time for the game. And the story. Fancy some tea? Benny jumped up and pulled a teapot from a straw-lined box. Tea is too small a word for what I have in this box. A better one would be detergent. You can read while I brew up. The doctor took his notebook from his pocket and peered at it myopically, maneuvering it at different lengths from his nose. Finally, as Benny placed a kettle on top of a trivet, he began. My name is Alishka Gresnal. That doesn't seem to mean anything. I think it's matronymic. Go on. Never mind the footnotes. I have been offending, sinning, badly against the gods. I built my observatory with several bunches. Bales of help? Bales of help from the clans of my 3 husbands. All the older folk forbade me, saying that their forebears had no observatory. So why did we have need of one? I said that since we had been given telescopes and measuring equipment by the gods, we should use them to discover our world. Respect is due, as Ace would say. Benny poured the kettle out into the pot and switched off her Bunsen burner. I began to discover that the stars are many valleys away. I could not find the gods. They were not visible. Rather like old Galileo, eh? Benny poured the doctor a cup, her flippant tone concealing a pained frown. When they are visible, it will be time for the resurrection dance, as the old folk are saying it will be soon, and then the dead will rise from the ground, and half the living shall go with the gods, and we will be told again how to remake this world. Remake? The doctor nodded and continued to read. My 3rd brother's grandmother remembered a mountain that we have done away with. It was taken away in baskets over many years. Many old folk remember the hibernation times, but now there are no hibernation times, and the old folk are getting frightened of the scratching some of us feel in our fur, and the white worms that move upon the ground. My God. Benny warmed her hands on her mug. I say the worms can mate in a cold place. Ha! I have read some accounts of the resurrection dance, and I cannot believe what the priestesses tell us, that going with the gods is good. I will not go with them, and I leave this message for you, because tonight the gods are in the sky. The arch will make this place, even if the ground is remade. The door is locked, and I will shackle myself and swallow the note, so I will not destroy all the message, even if I escape. I have an itch in my fur. You must prepare. Take arms and beware. Remember me. In love. The doctor closed his notebook. We do remember you, Benny whispered, pouring a drop from her hip flask into her tea. We do. You were a great scientist, Alishka Gresnal. She was. But that's the story. The Hutai kept the Heavenites as a slave race, culled them every few years, gave them technology to turn their planet into a garden, to make it seem ideal. Not to their own eyes, but for newcomers they would never see. The resurrection dance that year was the last one. Every one of the Heavenites was invested and taken away, even the dead. Totally recycled. So even heaven is just a place where you work for the company and die in debt. Bernice sighed. God, what for? For a strategy. A move in a game. The doctor spat the words out. I shouldn't have read it. No point. No meaning. No meaning? Benny exploded. She would have commented further on the doctor's insensitivity, except that into the tent walked Alec. He hadn't made any signal of his approach. Oh, Liberty Hall, be my guest. Benny threw back the last drop of tea and, after a moment's thought, threw the cup into the corner. Instead of breaking, it wedged in the mud by the tent peg. Alec, the doctor began urgently, do you remember what I said to you about the telescope, and what to do when the telescope's not there anymore? I had to deliver this. Alec handed the doctor an envelope. Exactly 2 hours after she'd gone. After who'd gone? The doctor asked urgently. Ace, Alec told him. I hope that they win, because you're not doing anything to help us. And he left again. The doctor clutched at the envelope. No, he whispered. He'd knock her out. Prevent her going. I know he would. She can't go with him. He wouldn't let her. Open the letter. Benny gently helped the doctor's trembling fingers rip open the envelope. Over his shoulder, she read, Heaven, the Milky Way. Dear Professor, you're really not going to like this, but I did it anyway. Moira woke me up because Jam put me to sleep. He's off to steal a spaceship, and he's got a plan, which he won't tell anybody. Told you, like. I want to go with him because I love him, and because I'm a better fighter than him, and because I thought that maybe this time you really can't do anything. Really can't? I hope you know what I mean, not looking down telescopes, etc., right? I thought maybe this was what you wanted me to do, only you couldn't tell me. You're going to catch up with him. Anyway, it's all rubbish in the end, right? Life's hard, and then you regenerate. See you afterwards. Oh, burn this, hey? Love you. Take Benny with you if we get zapped. The note was signed with a stylized ace, big and bold, and a single kiss. The doctor let it fall from his hand. Did you really think she wouldn't go? Benny asked. I didn't think she'd be able to. The doctor stood up and peered down at his chessboard with a kind of loathing. Suddenly, with a snarl, he kicked the board over. Pieces flew in all directions. Benny stared as the doctor jammed his hat back onto his head and grabbed his umbrella. "I'm tired of this game," he yelled. "Time for the real version. Time to start writing this book." And he strode out of the tent. Benny quickly looked around, nervous. If she knew this man at all, if what she'd seen of him was true, she wasn't going to run after him. The doctor popped his head back inside the tent. "Well?" he asked, his eyes full of the impending storm. "Aren't you coming with me?"